The gleaming spires of Starlight Academy pierced the violet sky of Lumina Prime, a beacon of interstellar learning that drew the brightest minds from across the galaxy. Among the throng of exotic alien species disembarking from the latest transport, a solitary human stood out like a sore thumb. Zara Chen clutched her duffel bag tightly, fighting the urge to gape at the dizzying array of life forms surrounding her. Six-limbed hexapods scuttled past on clicking appendages. Vaporous nebulons floated by in shimmering containment fields. Even the air itself seemed alive with microscopic quark beings, their quantum chirps barely audible to her human ears. As the first human ever admitted to the prestigious academy, Zara felt the weight of her species' future resting squarely on her shoulders. Earth had only recently joined the Galactic Confederation, and many alien races viewed humans as primitive newcomers, barely out of the Stone Age by cosmic standards. A towering figure loomed before her, blocking out the light of Lumina Prime's twin suns. "Human," the being's translator crackled. "I am Dean. Follow me for processing." Zara craned her neck to look up at the Dean, whose crystalline body refracted the sunlight into dazzling patterns. "Yes, sir, ma'am. Your Excellency." A sound like tinkling glass emanated from the Dean. It took Zara a moment to realize it was laughter. "So will suffice, Miss Chen. Come along now." As they made their way through the sprawling campus, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the advanced technology on display. Holographic infospheres hovered at every intersection, providing real-time data on class schedules and campus events. Students zipped by on personal gravity sleds, while others teleported directly to their destinations in shimmering bursts of light. "Your living quarters," Dean announced, gesturing to a pulsating organic structure that looked more like a giant seed pod than a dormitory. "You'll find it configured to Earth-standard gravity and atmosphere. Do try not to contaminate the rest of the campus with your emissions." Zara bristled at the thinly veiled insult, but held her tongue. She was here to learn and to prove that humanity deserved a place among the stars. No amount of casual xenophobia would deter her from that goal. As the Dean departed in a flash of crystalline light, Zara took a deep breath and stepped into her new home. The interior was a strange mix of alien efficiency and attempted Earth comfort. A gelatinous bed occupied one corner, its surface rippling invitingly. A food synthesizer hummed softly, promising to recreate any Earth cuisine she desired, with varying degrees of success, no doubt. A chime sounded, and a holographic schedule materialized before her. "Xenobiology 101, Zara read aloud, her heart racing with excitement and trepidation. This was it, her first real test. The lecture hall was a massive amphitheater, with rows upon rows of aliens of all shapes and sizes. As Zara entered, a hush fell over the crowd, followed by a wave of whispers and not-so-subtle pointing. She squared her shoulders and made her way to an empty seat, pointedly ignoring the student who recoiled at her proximity, its tentacles curling in disgust. "Professor," a being of pure energy contained within and crackled to life at the center of the room. "Welcome, students, to another year at Starlight Academy. We have a unique addition to our ranks this term." The professor's gaze, or what passed for it, fixed on Zara. Perhaps our human guest would like to share some insights into her species' biology. Zara felt her cheeks burn as hundreds of alien eyes turned towards her. This wasn't a classroom, it was an interrogation. But she hadn't come this far to back down now. Standing on shaky legs, Zara cleared her throat. "Well, humans are a carbon-based life form from the planet Earth. We're bipedal mammals with a complex nervous system centered around a brain capable of abstract thought and problem-solving." A series of derisive clicks came from a group of insectoid hive mind students. "Problem-solving?" One chittered. "Your species still believes in invisible sky deities and engages in tribal warfare." Laughter rippled through the hall, but Zara pressed on. "It's true that we have our flaws and our history is far from perfect. But humans have also made incredible strides in a short amount of time. We went from our first powered flight to landing on our moon in less than 70 years. We've cured diseases, split the atom, and now we're here, ready to learn and contribute to galactic society." The laughter died down, replaced by a contemplative silence. Professor Zanfrak's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. "An interesting perspective, Miss Chen. Let us hope your species' rate of advancement continues here at the Academy. Now, let us turn our attention to the fascinating respiratory system of the methane brothers of Epsilon Eridani." As the lecture continued, Zara felt a mix of relief and lingering anxiety. She had stood her ground, but it was clear that winning acceptance here would be an uphill battle. The days that followed were a whirlwind of classes, each more mind-bending than the last. Quantum physics taught by a race that existed in 11 dimensions simultaneously. Faster than light navigation from beings who perceived time non-linearly. Zara's head spun with the influx of knowledge, but she attacked each challenge with determined human tenacity. Yet, for all her academic progress, social acceptance remained elusive. In the dining hall, students gave her a wide berth, whispering about her primitive digestive system and unsanitary eating habits. During physical training, many refused to spar with her, citing fear of contamination or injury to her fragile human form. Zara found solace in the Academy's vast library, losing herself in the collected knowledge of a million worlds. It was there, buried in a tome on obscure alien cultures, that she had her first friendly encounter. "Excuse me," a melodious voice chimed, "but you're sitting on my roommate." Zara leaped up from her squishy seat, which promptly reformed into a gelatinous alien with swirling patterns across its translucent body. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize." The alien who had addressed her waved a feathered appendage dismissively. "No harm done. Glorp here is used to being mistaken for furniture. I'm Lyra, by the way, avian empathic from Celestia IV." "Zara Chen," she replied, relief flooding through her at this simple, friendly interaction, human from Earth. Lyra's iridescent feathers ruffled with interest. "Ah, the mysterious humans. I've been hoping to meet you. Is it true your species communicates primarily through crude vocalizations and physical gestures?" Zara couldn't help but laugh. "Well, when you put it that way, it does sound pretty primitive, but we're learning. Universal translators help, though I'm trying to pick up some native languages too." "Fascinating." Lyra trilled, her crest feathers standing on end with excitement. "Perhaps we could exchange language lessons. I've always been curious about human modes of expression." For the first time since arriving at Starlight Academy, Zara felt a glimmer of hope. Here was someone willing to look past her alien nature and see her as a person, or at least an interesting subject of study. As they chatted, other curious students began to drift closer, drawn by the novelty of a human engaged in friendly conversation. Zara found herself fielding questions about Earth culture, human biology, and the mysteries of protein-based nutrient consumption. It wasn't acceptance, not yet, but it was a start. As the twin suns of Lumina Prime set, painting the sky in impossible colors, Zara stood at the window of her dormitory pod. The initial fear and isolation was still there, but now tempered with determination and a spark of excitement. She had come to Starlight Academy to prove that humanity belonged among the stars. It wouldn't be easy, nothing worthwhile ever was. But as she looked out at the glittering expanse of the galaxy, Zara Chen knew that this was only the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure. Weeks passed at Starlight Academy, and Zara found herself settling into a routine. The initial shock of being surrounded by alien life forms had faded, replaced by a growing fascination with the diversity of galactic life. Her friendship with Lyra, the avian empathic, had blossomed, providing a much-needed anchor in this strange new world. One particularly challenging day found Zara in the quantum mechanics lab, struggling with a problem that seemed to defy the laws of physics as she understood them. The holographic display before her swirled with mind-bending equations and four-dimensional models that made her head swim. "Having trouble, Earth creature?" A gravelly voice rumbled behind her. Zara turned to find herself face to face, or rather, face to midsection, with a massive, rocky being. She recognized a species as a geodian, a silicon-based life form known for their incredible computational abilities and notoriously prickly personalities. "I'm fine," Zara said quickly, not wanting to appear weak, just thinking through the problem. The geodian's crystalline eyes glittered with what might have been amusement. "Your brainwaves suggest otherwise. They're practically tied in knots." A stony appendage reached past her, manipulating the holographic display with surprising dexterity. "You're approaching it from a linear time perspective. Think in loops, not lines." As the geodian adjusted the equations, Zara felt her understanding shift. Suddenly, the problem that had seemed impossible now appeared elegantly simple. "That's incredible. Thank you, Crix," the geodian rumbled. "And you are Zara Chen, the human anomaly." Zara bristled slightly at the term anomaly, but Crix continued before she could protest. "Your species is a curiosity. So brief-lived, yet capable of such rapid adaptation. I've been observing your progress." "You have?" Zara asked, surprised and a little unnerved. Crix's crystalline form shifted in what might have been a shrug. "You intrigue me. Your methods are often inefficient, even chaotic, yet you achieve results. It defies logical analysis." Coming from a geodian, Zara realized this was high praise indeed. "Well, maybe you could help me be more efficient," she ventured. "And in return, I could show you some of those chaotic human methods. They might surprise you." A sound like grinding stones emerged from Crix. Laughter, Zara realized with a start. An intriguing proposition, human. "Very well, let us engage in this cultural exchange." And so began one of the strangest friendships in Starlight Academy's history. Zara, Lyra, and Crix formed an unlikely trio, each bringing unique perspectives to their shared studies. Lyra's empathic abilities helped bridge communication gaps, while Crix's computational power and Zara's intuitive problem-solving created a formidable academic team. Their collaboration did not go unnoticed. In the Academy's vast arboretum, designed to replicate various alien ecosystems, Professor Zilxar pulled Zara aside after a particularly grueling xenobotany lesson. "Miss Chen," the plant-like being's fronds quivered with barely contained excitement. "Your latest project on adaptive cross-pollination techniques was most impressive. The way you combined geodian crystal growth algorithms with avian empathic harmonic resonance, it's unprecedented." Zara felt a surge of pride. "Thank you, Professor. I couldn't have done it without my friends. We each brought something unique to the table." Professor Zilxar's chlorophyll-rich skin, darkened in what Zara had learned, was a sign of deep thought. "Yes, quite. It's most unusual. But then your presence here is unusual in itself. Tell me, how are you finding your experience at the Academy?" Zara hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "It's been challenging," she admitted. "There's so much to learn, and sometimes it feels like I'm playing catch-up with species that have been part of galactic society for millennia. But it's also incredibly exciting. Every day brings new discoveries." The professor's fronds rustled thoughtfully. "Indeed. You know, Miss Chen, there are those who questioned the wisdom of admitting a human to Starlight Academy. They argued that your species was too young, too volatile. But I'm beginning to think they underestimated you." As word of Zara's successful collaborations spread, attitudes towards her began to shift. Some students, intrigued by her unorthodox approaches, sought her out for study sessions. Others, however, viewed her growing acceptance with suspicion and resentment. Tensions came to a head during a heated debate in interspecies ethics class. The topic was the integration of new species into galactic society, and opinions were divided. "Humans are a potential threat," argued Vexler, a hive mind student whose multiple bodies spoke in unsettling unison. "Their history is rife with conflict. How can we trust them not to bring their wars to the stars?" Zara felt her cheeks burn. But before she could respond, Lyra's melodious voice rang out. "That's unfair. Zara has shown nothing but dedication to learning and cooperation since she arrived. We can't judge an entire species based on their past." "Easy for you to say," sneered Drac, a Volcrine whose plasma-based body roiled with agitation. "Your world has been part of the Confederation for eons. You haven't had to compete with these newcomers for resources and opportunities." The debate grew heated, with students taking sides. To Zara's surprise, many spoke in defense of humanity's potential. Crix's rocky voice cut through the chaos with the weight of a landslide. "Your arguments are illogical," the Deodian stated flatly. "Judgment based on insufficient data is flawed. The human has demonstrated adaptability and collaborative capabilities that merit further observation. Exclusion without evidence is inefficient." As the cast evolved into multiple arguments, some conducted in languages Zara's translator couldn't even begin to decipher, she felt a complex mix of emotions. Gratitude for her friend's support walled with frustration at being constantly judged as a representative of her entire species. Later, in a quiet corner of the Academy's zero-gravity relaxation chamber, Zara floated with Lyra and Crix, her thoughts as tumultuous as the swirling nebula visible through the transparent dome above them. "Don't let them get to you," Lyra soothed, her feathers gently brushing Zara's arm in a comforting gesture. "Change takes time, even for species that live for thousands of years." Crix's crystalline form glittered in the starlight. "Indeed, it is statistically improbable that all individuals will alter their perspectives simultaneously. Focus on the variable you can control, your own actions." Zara smiled at her friend's attempts at comfort, each so characteristic of their species. "Thanks, guys. I just wish I could make them understand that I'm not here to prove humanity's superiority or to compete. I'm here to learn, to understand, to be part of something greater than myself or my species." A moment of comfortable silence passed between them, broken only by the soft hum of the relaxation chamber's anti-grav field. "Perhaps," Crix rumbled thoughtfully, "that is precisely what you need to demonstrate more clearly." Lyra's crest feathers perked up with excitement. "Oh yes. What if we organized some kind of event? Something to showcase cooperation between species?" Zara's mind raced with possibilities. "That's brilliant. We could put together a team for the Cosmic Challenge." The Cosmic Challenge was Starlight Academy's most prestigious competition, a grueling test of knowledge, skill, and teamwork that pushed participants to their limits. Traditionally, teams were formed within species, but there was no rule against a mixed species group. "It's perfect," Zara continued, her enthusiasm growing. "We'll show everyone that different species working together can achieve amazing things. That diversity is a strength, not a weakness." As they began to plan, bouncing ideas off each other in a flurry of excitement, Zara felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was why she had come to Starlight Academy, not just to learn, but to bridge gaps, to foster understanding between different cultures and species. The path ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles both academic and social. But as Zara looked at her friends, Lyra, with her empathic wisdom, and Crix, with his unshakable logic, she knew they were up to the task. Together, they would show the galaxy what humanity and true cooperation was capable of achieving.